Hello, hello. Hey, this is Warren Redlick. Try that again. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, this is Warren Redlick. Thank you so much for watching. I have no idea. I can never tell whether this is working or not. I wanted to talk about a bunch of stuff. I try to be positive about Tesla and talk about positive things and try to explain what's going on with certain things. And every once in a while, I get tired of the BS and I decide I need to the topic I want to cover today is Tesla Q dorks. Yeah, I mean, it's Tesla Q. There's a Tesla Q space going on X right now where a bunch of morons are talking about what's wrong with Tesla. And I tried listening and it was just so stupid. So the one that got me was this, I forget, some unverified account with like 45 followers saying robo-taxis will never succeed because of vandalism, which is why Waymo continues to expand and Cruise didn't have problems because of vandalism. Cruise had problems because they ran someone over, right? But Waymo's been running vehicles. Where are the Tesla Q people saying, "Oh, Waymo will never succeed because of vandalism"? Meanwhile, the fact that there is some vandalism in San Francisco, a city which has all kinds of crime problems, and Waymo continues to operate despite the vandalism. No big deal. Hey, Big Will. Hey, Brian. Hey, BGZ. Hey, John. So this idea that, it's possible that some robo taxis will operate in places that don't have a vandalism problem, that don't have a serious crime. Just maybe they would operate in places that don't have a serious crime problem and places where, the cameras that every Tesla car is going to capture all the video of any vandalism incident. And in a place where they actually prosecute crime, i.e., not San Francisco, in a place where they actually prosecute crimes, the people will be prosecuted. And some people, I've heard a version of this where, like, well, people will mess up the inside of the car, and how's that going to be handled? Well, how is it handled with Uber? Right? Somebody pukes in your car and walks out. Like the driver, somebody has to clean it up. I think there's some fairly simple solutions to this. Like there's going to be a camera in the car like there is now that if you do something, it might capture it. My advice would be when you're getting in, and I would build this into the app myself. Take a picture of the car as you're getting in, take a picture of the car as you're getting out. If somebody's getting in and sees a problem in the car, we can go check the photos from the last person who was getting in the car. Use your own cell phone. You're in the app. You could just submit, hey, here's the picture of the car when I got in. Here's the picture of the car when I got out. Now you're insulating yourself from the claim that you messed up the car. There's some really simple. So another one is like, well, what if somebody doesn't close the door? Well, then you charge them $1 a minute until then, pump their app until they come back and close the damn door. This is how superchargers work. If you leave your car at the supercharger too long, you get charged $1 a minute. And they alert you on your app. Hey, unplug your car, move it from the supercharger. Like people think that they manufacture problems like, well, this is a deal breaker. You can't do a $2 trillion business because you might lose $100,000 or $1 million on some vandalism or some other BS. So yes, Big Will, that's pretty much it. But Earl was in there quietly not defending Tesla. I saw Earl in there. Yes, Sandy Monroe had a great rant today. That's a little different topic, but so then Fred Fudstone, formerly known as Fred Lambert, the head of Electrek, Fred Fudstone needs therapy for his Elon man bad syndrome. He says that Elon is coincidentally or not isolating himself at the top of Tesla during a critical time. Why is this a critical time? Was last month a critical time? Was 3 months ago? When wasn't a critical time for Tesla? What company doesn't think that now is a critical? This is always like, well, at this critical moment in history, this is the most important election in the history of the United States. Really? Really? A critical time? There is the country and the world are facing a critical time. We've got serious economic problems around the world. We've got conflicts around the world. So I suppose it's a critical time, but I think last month was a critical time. The month before that was a critical time, 3 months. I think 2018 was a much more critical time for Tesla. I think 2008 was a much more critical time for Tesla. Is he isolating himself because Drew, after 18 years of hard work, decided to take a break and go off and do something else with his life because Rohan left? Rohan's still posting on X. As far as I know, Rohan is still actually there. I think Martin might still be there. like they're probably scaling down. But Rohan continuing to support positively about Tesla is a sign that I don't know if he was fired. Maybe it was just like, hey, I want to go work on the election, but so on. Fred Fudgestone, that's not bad. So FUD, for those who don't know, FUD stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's one of the trademarks of the TSLAQ community. The Tesla haters is spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And that's going to be a lot of what I'm going to talk about in this live stream. So Tesla has $27 billion in cash, $10 billion in debt. That's probably really zero debt because I think the debt is secured by the cars or something. So it's not real debt. And then, by the way, look at this image. Elon is sitting in the middle of a long conference table, like the table's built around him. What crap? And if you zoom in on his face, and I'll see if I can do that for you. If you zoom in on his face, he's got like this really sad face. Like poor Elon. Like does Fred have anything better to do with his time than just bash Elon all day long? Solvency risk. Dare Obasanjo. In Japanese, that would be Dare, but I don't think it's Japanese. Maybe it's Japanese. I recently asked a friend with an EV if range anxiety is still an issue. His response is that solvency anxiety is a bigger issue because Fisker and Lucid are in trouble. Well, that's because Fisker's basically done and Lucid is a borderline penny stock that only survives because the Saudis keep pumping money into the company. They can't sell a car and they can't make a car. But they certainly can't make a car for anywhere near what it costs, what they're selling them for. Make a car for $300,000, sell it for 90. I guess that's a business strategy. That's not Tesla's strategy. Tesla has $27 billion in cash and maybe $10 billion in debt that's probably secured by the cars. This is not a solvency problem. This is like people are just throwing stuff. They're so frustrated that Tesla continues to succeed that they just start throwing stuff at the wall. I mean, GM has less cash and 12x the debt. Is this guy talking about solvency anxiety for internal combustion engine vehicles? Look at these companies. GM has literally less cash and 12x the debt. No concerns about solvency? Toyota and Volkswagen have over $200 billion in debt. Ford has over $150 billion in debt. All of them have ratios of like 3-to-1, 4-to-1, or in GM's case, 5-to-1 debt to cash. Tesla's 3 times as much cash as debt. The solvency risk is on the internal combustion engine vehicles, not on Tesla. That's just ridiculous. There's this doozy. This one, I was literally like laughing so hard I had to calm myself down when I saw this. This guy Charback, so I finally unfollowed and muted on X, who's constantly bashing Elon and Tesla and so on. He's suggesting that the reason that the supercharger network was pulled back is because Tesla's going to switch to battery swap. And battery swap uses, and I said, well, that doesn't make any sense because you'd need twice as many batteries, right? If you're going to have, for a Robo-taxi network, I think the context was a Robo-taxi network. Your Robo-taxis are out all day doing whatever they're doing, and then they need to come in and charge at night. So you're going to swap batteries. Well, that means you got 100 Robo-taxis out there. You got to have 100 batteries waiting for them. So you need 200 batteries for 100 Robo-taxis. He says, no, battery swap uses 2 times less materials, as each EV can use half as much battery materials, and you not need 2 batteries per What? And you can use 11 half-capacity batteries for 10 EVs or so. What? Doesn't make any sense. Cybercab in cities will be fine with half-capacity battery swapping, which means EV batteries can instantly crank out twice as many cars. Doesn't make any sense. Like, what are you talking about? There's no way Tesla will automate that without some kind of... And charging, you can't automate that without some Tesla bot or some kind of automatic charging cable connecting system. Or inductive charging, which they already told us they're planning on doing. And, you could have a human plug in cars at a Robo-taxi charging station and you probably do 30 cars an hour. What does it take? 30 seconds to plug a car in and unplug a car? That's a minute. That's a minute. You got 30 minutes. You got an hour. You can pretty much do the job in an hour. I don't even think it takes 30 seconds to plug in a car, actually, but whatever. Tesla... I'm quite sure the reason Tesla has fired the whole supercharger team is because they're confident battery swapping in the future, starting with Model 2 Cybercab. If Tesla has not figured this one out, they will lose big time. Classic smarter than Elon disease. Elon has said multiple times, we're not doing swapping. We tried it. They tried it on the Model S a long time ago. No one used it. It's over. So then you got Tom Zhu. These are the recent stuff. I've got my lists of 10. Sheryl Sandberg. What are you talking about? Sheryl Sandberg has nothing to do with any of this. People are so quick to turn it. So Tom Zhu allegedly, there's like a rumor that Tom Zhu went to China. Now I say he went to China for dim sum, but some people think he was demoted and moved to China. I did a poll on X. Dim sum is a winning choice, but promoted is a bigger choice than demoted. But people are spinning that like anything that happens has to be negative. When you're TSLAQ or when you're Lost Gerbil or Gary Black or whatever, Barry Glack or whatever, when you're James TSLAQ cat, when you're anti-Troy dislike, whatever, anything that happens, any news is bad news. Like Tesla literally at the Q1 earnings call announced that they're going to be rolling out a whole bunch of new vehicles. Nothing. Oh, the response was, oh, they're delaying the Model 2. They just said they're bringing forward a bunch of vehicles, and you're saying they canceled the Model 2. Like, how did you? They literally said we're bringing forward multiple vehicles, including some more affordable vehicles, starting this year on the existing manufacturing lines, which saves CapEx. And it got spun into Tesla's canceling the Model 2, which they didn't say. They specifically said, first of all, there never was a Model 2, but they specifically said the Robo-taxi vehicle will be built, separately, and we're still working on that. On the unbox process, specifically mentioned the unbox process. Am I personally going to sit in a Robo-taxi if Tesla says so? I'm going to sit. First of all, I already sat in a Robo-taxi. I've got a video of myself in a Waymo. Why would I have a problem sitting in a Robo-taxi? I've done 60,000 miles in Teslas with like probably 40 or 50,000 of them on FSD. Think I'm afraid to ride in a Tesla Robo-taxi? You got to be kidding me. Yeah, the table cut him in half. So the response from Pandaily, which is a China-focused publication, Pandaily. Tom Zhu's return means that Tesla will focus more on the Chinese market. China is one of Tesla's most important overseas markets. I think China may be Tesla's most important market, period. Okay, China is a bigger EV market than America. Against the backdrop of global economic downturn, that China's automotive market continues to maintain a relatively fast growth rate. If the United States is going to continue to maintain high interest rates, it's hard for people to buy cars, and China is seeing growth. I'm not sure whether there's growth in China or not. I'm relying on Pandaily for this. Then having Tom in China pushing growth in China makes a lot of sense. I'm seeing growth here in Thailand, which is those are China-made vehicles. Tom's return has injected new vitality in the future development of Tesla's business in China. Rich experience and outstanding leadership will lead the Tesla China team to achieve even greater success. Fantastic. That's a positive spin. The negative spin, oh no, Elon's surrounded himself with, he's removed all of his key advisors. Like, really? Then we got Lost Gerbil, the artist formerly known as Russ Gerber, Lost Gerbil. He doesn't understand cost per mile. He says, Robo-taxi will be a highly competitive business with much lower profits than what people think. Transportation is become a commodity. Transportation is becoming a commodity. Transportation will become a commodity. He can't even use correct grammar. Well, I mean, we all make mistakes on X, so I'm not going to hold him too hard on that one. But Waymo's cost per mile is in the ballpark of $2 a mile. Okay, you got a $150,000 vehicle that does 150,000 mile life. That's $1 a mile just on amortizing the vehicle without accounting for interest rates. Their vehicles are much more inefficient. I think they're using Chrysler Pacifica hybrid minivans, which are gas vehicles. So they're probably getting like 40, 50 miles a gallon. So their cost of electricity is around 10 cents a mile. Tesla's cost of electricity on a Model 3 is around 3 cents a mile. And Tesla, you amortize it. You go to the Cybercab, you're probably doing 2.5 cents a mile for electricity and 2 cents a mile for amortization of the vehicle. So you're at 5 cents a mile, where Waymo's at $1.10. And they're probably going to be more efficient on tires and so on. And it's just ridiculous. So just like everything's wrong. Tesla Robo-taxi cost per mile will be less than 20 cents, maybe 10 cents. Waymo has, that's my point. Tesla Robo-taxi cost per mile will be less than 20 cents, maybe 10 cents. Waymo has no, Model 3 was projected to be 18 cents a mile. I think Cybercab will probably get it down to around 10 cents a mile. And Waymo has no path. What's Waymo's path to lower cost? They're not manufacturing their own vehicles. They still have this, high energy consumption, NVIDIA. I think it's NVIDIA. I'm not sure. Whatever they're using for their self-driving in the car is much higher energy consumption. I think it takes up a lot of space as compared to Tesla, which just has a chipset, little card that's in the car and uses a lot less energy. This is just dumb. So, all right, I made a list. I had Grok make a list. We'll start with Grok's list. And I have a list of 10, but the 10 is longer. Hey, Andrew, where's the profits then? The profits for Tesla are if you sell rides for $1 a mile and your cost is 10 cents a mile, and half the miles are paid. So it's 20 cents per paid mile cost and $1 per paid mile ride. You're making 80 cents profit per paid mile. That's where the profit is. The problem is Waymo doesn't make any profit. The people who own their Tesla put their car into use as a robo-taxi, cover all the maintenance cost, energy. Well, you'll have two different versions. You have Tesla's own robo-taxis, and you have individual privately owned robo-taxis. They're two different scenarios. So I just asked Grok, and I also asked ChatGPT. That's going to be the rest of this video, going through this along with talking with the chat. What are the most common complaints people have about Tesla, either the cars or the company, in the last 6 months? And I did like a broader one that was top 10, but this is a top 5. And I've got ChatGPT next on this. Distraction of Elon Musk. There are concerns that Elon Musk's involvement with Twitter X is diverting his attention from Tesla, potentially impacting the company's performance and initiatives. So the complaint was he's distracted. That was the lost durable complaint. Now Elon comes back. First of all, he was never really distracted. That was a lie. Elon was working plenty at Tesla, making sure things were going well. He gets back to Tesla. If you believe he was distracted stuff, now he's very active at Tesla, and he's like throwing his hammer around in the worlds of Andrej Karpathy. He's breaking stuff and trying to shake things up. And now, oh no, Elon's messing up the company. Like, make up your mind. You want him active or not? If you want him active, you get Elon active. If you don't want Elon there, then if you don't like the active Elon, what do you want? It's just so stupid. Like, Elon's distracted, then all of a sudden he's too active. Make up your minds. What's up, Jamil? All right, so financial risk. There are worries about Tesla's financial health, including post Q4 trailing 12 months price earnings ratio, Hertz potentially pulling back, negative contributions from Cybertruck in 2024. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the picture I posted on X, but Kim Kardashian, yet again, I think this might be the 3rd time posted pictures of herself with her Cybertruck. 1 million likes. I don't know how many views. She's got 300 some million followers on Instagram. She got 1 million likes in like 24 hours. Including me and Sawyer Merritt. Crazy. Rising interest rates and free cash flow. So let's be clear. They did have a poor quarter in terms of earnings and cash flow in Q1. It was Q1 of 2024. That was an issue. Rising interest rates are an issue for Tesla, but they're an issue for anybody who makes large manufactured objects that are typically sold on credit. If you're buying a Ford F-150, if you're buying a Toyota Camry and you're going to get a loan, your car payments are going to be a lot higher, and you might decide, I can't afford that car. That applies to everybody who sells cars in America. Financial health, they've got $27 billion in cash. They had 1 quarter loss, which was explained by a lot of factors that are well understood. And over the last, I think this is the first month they didn't have a profit. The first quarter, they didn't have a profit for a long time. Hertz pulling back is a small thing. I don't see that's a financial health issue. That's just Hertz making their financial decision that right now the Teslas aren't working for us. And, that may change again. Legal and regulatory concerns. Tesla's facing potential legal issues and investigations by the Southern District of New York and California AG, along with a sudden exit of Zach. So Zach Kirkhorn left a while ago. That's an old issue, and there are people complaining about Vibhub not doing a good job as CFO. He's doing fine. People they hated Zach when he came in. Said Zach was the wrong one. Jim Whitehead says Kim Kardashian and Shane worship of an empty-headed bimbo. I think we have to say that I'm not a fan. I don't follow her. I liked her post, but I don't follow her. I think we would have to say that maybe she's got some brains. I think the Kardashians have some brains because they're making a ton of money. There's plenty of people who are bimbos and don't make this kind of money. So I think we can agree that they have some sense of how to make money off their bimbo-ness, if that's what we're going to say. Can Tesla provide close to 0% loans to combat the higher rates for a loan? I think the rates are hurting Tesla the most. I don't know why would the rates be hurting Tesla more than any other car company? Why would they hurt Tesla more? They're giving great lease deals. They've got the tax credit. If they give 0% loans, that has to be financed somehow. That's a cost. It's not like you just don't wave a magic wand. I believe Kim Kardashian did graduate from law school. I don't know if she's technically a lawyer yet. Um, yeah, she's great at playing one. Exactly, Janet. So, the legal and regulatory concerns. I'm not familiar with the Southern District of New York investigation. I'm not familiar with those two investigations. There's ongoing NHTSA investigations of FSD. They never seem to investigate all the other car companies that have real crashes that kill lots of people. I'm wondering when they're going to investigate human self-driving. But there's always issues. Whenever you have a big company, you're going to have issues and investigations and lawsuits. Competition and market pressures. There's fears of increased competition from Chinese EVs in the EU. But okay, so this is a classic one. EVs are not competition for each other. EVs are competition for gas cars. The more EVs there are, the better, because we're trying to get rid of gas cars from the roads. The idea that some BYD comes in and steals sales from Tesla when the BYD is cheaper and it steals sales from Toyota and Volkswagen. This doesn't steal, by the way, it takes them legitimately. Potential reductions in US EV tax credit. I haven't seen any concerns about a reduction in the EV tax credit. If Trump gets elected, maybe he takes it away. But the problem with the EV tax credit is it incentivized the big three or whatever, a lot of major automakers to go back to hybrids instead of EVs because they get the same tax credit. So I honestly think they should. I opposed the IRA in the first place. Elon didn't want it. It's bad fiscal policy for the country. Rising labor costs are a problem for everyone. That's not a problem for Tesla. That's a problem for everyone. Quality and reliability issues. Despite Tesla's efforts to improve, the company still faces concerns over vehicle quality and reliability, including issues with body hardware, paint defects, and in-car electronics. This is total nonsense. There are complaints, yeah, because there's anytime one guy in Kansas says, "Oh, my Tesla, software isn't working right," and it gets national news attention. It's ridiculous. Every car company has issues, and none of these issues are that significant. Now, maybe Grox did it wrong, so let's look at ChatGPT's top 5 in the recent concerns. Range and efficiency concerns. Tesla has been working on launching an efficiency package for its vehicle lineup due to criticisms over optimistic range estimates and to counteract the impact of new EPA rules that require the company to reduce its advertised range. Of course, that's Electrek. So remember, friends don't let friends read Electrek. Unfortunately, I can't stop ChatGPT from reading Electrek. This is a concern that I'm not aware of, and Tesla just announced the new long-range Model Y rear-wheel drive, which gets 320 miles of range. Every EV and any gas car is going to get different range depending on the circumstances in which you drive it. If you're going to drive 90 miles an hour, you're going to get less range. The good thing is that Teslas do better in stop and go driving in the city if you do one pedal driving. If you keep hitting your brakes, don't help it. But if you're using one pedal driving, then you actually get more range. I get fantastic range in city driving. Production delays and groundbreaking rescheduling. The groundbreaking of the Tesla Gigafactory in Mexico is rescheduled with delays attributed to environmental permit extensions. This has raised concerns about Tesla's ability to meet production timelines. Okay, so this one is, I don't know when this one was done. That seems to be behind the times. Giga Mexico is on hold because they're going to focus on bringing new vehicles out on the existing lines, and because Tesla decided we're going to manufacture the next generation vehicle in Texas first. So that's old news. And, Tesla doesn't have, right now, Tesla does not appear to be production constrained. Tesla appears to be demand constrained because the overall market is demand constrained because there's just high interest rates and not a lot of people, a lot of money. For people who don't know, when a Tesla slows down without using the brake pedal, the car recaptures a lot of the energy in what's called regenerative braking, which when you use a gas car, you don't have that option. You don't recapture any energy. You can coast if you know what you're doing, but you can't recapture energy. Compliance issues with Model 3 in Australia. The Australian government has paused sales of the 2024 Tesla Model 3 due to compliance issues concerning accessibility of child restraint anchorage points. This sounds like a trivial issue that's not a big deal, and I don't even know whether it's current or old. Concerns over rear seat space in Model 3. Really? This is the best you got? Users have expressed concerns these changes might have compromised the spaciousness of the rear seating area. So I rode across the country and the Model 3 I bought from Omar, aka Holmar's blog, Holmar's catalog, with 3 other people in the car, and there were 2 of us in the back seat, and it was very roomy. That was a 2018 Model 3. If they reduced the room in the back seat a tiny bit, no big deal. I tend to think that's not true at all, and I've seen plenty of reviews of the Model 3, and no one's mentioned a problem. And I've sat in the new Model 3 also, because they have it here in Thailand. They've had it for a while here in Thailand. Environmental and operational challenges at new facilities. Tesla's operations continue to be closely watched, with environmental concerns playing a significant role in how new facilities like gigafactories are perceived and accepted in their respective localities. Yeah, Teslas have the cleanest car factories in the world, and people freak out about it. That's just more haters. So I got more, but let's just see. Modern gas engines recapture energy through turbochargers. Sure they do. Sure they do. They recapture just gasoline go back in the gas tank? Is that how they recapture energy? That's hilarious. I'll install regenerative braking on my gas car. Good luck with that. I mean, hybrids have regenerative braking, so you got it there, but not a regular gas car. So this is Grok's top 10 list of all time, I guess. Braking for no reason. There were complaints about Tesla having unintended braking or something. I think this is the phantom braking problem that is basically gone. I never hear anybody talk about phantom braking anymore. So problem solved. Check. Phantom braking is the same one twice. Phantom braking. So Grok, I think ChatGPT is clearly outperforming Grok on this one. Range issues, complaints about range, old story. Poor build quality, old story. Check, 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 check. Door handle problems. The sleek door handles on EVs can be source of frustration. No, check. Customer service. Tesla owners have experienced long wait times for service. So this is true, right? There have been moments when people have long wait times for Tesla service. I once went with a Volkswagen Passat to a Volkswagen dealer and waited 3 hours for an oil change. I didn't see any headlines. I posted about it. Didn't get any headlines in the newspaper. I said, hey, I've been waiting 3 hours for my oil change here at Volkswagen. You know, I was in Fort Lauderdale, I think, or Broward County, Palm Beach County. The local papers didn't pick it up. The national news didn't pick it up. But somebody has a bad customer experience at Tesla, it's national news. You have 1,000 bad customer experiences with General Motors, and nobody cares. Nobody reports it. High repair costs. Due to the lack of repair shops certified to work on Tesla vehicles, insurance companies must weight the higher cost of potential damage. Insurance premiums are up for everybody, not just Tesla. Tesla is getting better and better at handling this issue of having adequate parts and reasonable cost for the parts. And you can get a lot of things done at Tesla, and they cost less than regular car company dealerships. Software issues. There have been reports of software glitches in Tesla because no other car company has ever had a software glitch. Including problems with the Autopilot feature and other software-related issues. From everything I hear, Tesla has the best software in the industry by far. It goes back into the engine, it captures vapor and exhaust, and it reburns in the engine. So when I take my foot off the gas on a turbocharged car, Dular, does gasoline go back on the gas tank? Because that's what regenerative braking is. I'm pretty sure the answer is no, right, Dular? Gas vapors are captured and returned to the gas tank by a turbocharger? I don't think that's completely true. Certainly, that doesn't seem very likely. And I have a feeling it's not 80% efficient, even if there's some tiny bit of truth to it. Insurance rates. Yes, we've already covered that. Everybody has higher insurance rates. Battery degradation. Some Tesla owners have reported significantly battery degradation. Look, it's true that if you drive a Tesla for 300,000 miles, then 150,000 miles after the typical gas car has stopped driving at all and is in a junkyard, you might need to replace your battery, but it's probably more like 500,000 miles. The older EVs had a little bit more battery degradation, but even the older ones, the batteries hold up really well. So, all right, we'll give ChatGPT their last shot. Build quality issues, check. Customer service, check. Autopilot and full self-driving controversies, yep, ongoing. We are doing a space on X, at least in theory. The real Dan O'Dowd, the crank critic, billionaire critic of Tesla's FSD, will theoretically be showing up in a space, and we will be talking about FSD. Critics argue that the name could be misleading, suggesting a higher level of autonomy than the cars currently provide. There have also been safety concerns following accidents involving these systems. While there have been safety concerns concerning following accidents allegedly involving these systems, I'm sure there's been a couple of crashes involving FSD, but like human-driven cars crash too. And it appears that FSD supervised cars crash less than cars where humans are just driving without FSD. And if the NHTSA could shut Tesla down for this, they would, and they haven't, and they won't. Labor practices. Tesla's been criticized for labor practices because no other car company has ever had labor issues. No other company has ever had labor issues. Any company that employs 100,000 people is going to have labor issues. This is not a big deal. Environmental impact of battery production. Because the environmental impact of gasoline coming out of the ground and being shipped all over the world and having oil spills is nothing, right? Actually, this is an important point that we should talk about because you're going to hear this a lot. Well, Tesla's, they're mining, blah, blah, blah. They have to mine all these minerals. Like, look, take a Tesla, let's say a Model S, compare it to a BMW M5. Okay? They weigh about the same. The M5 weighs more, costs more, and has less range. This is when people don't know this. A Model S has about 400 miles of range. A BMW M5 has a 20-gallon gas tank and 17 miles a gallon, so it gets 340 miles of range. But you compare those two vehicles. If two vehicles weigh the same and cost the same, then the environmental costs associated with their production are roughly the same. There's the same amount of mining of materials going into one vehicle versus another. There's roughly the same. Are there some small differences? Sure. And sure, if you compare a Tesla Model S to a Toyota Corolla, well, the Model S costs more, weighs more. There's going to be more mining going into the car. And yes, the battery pack's heavy and there's a lot of stuff going in there. But if a Tesla Model S weighs less than a BMW M5 despite having a 1,000-pound battery pack, what the hell's in the BMW M5? What did they mine to get that? No one talks about that. Elon Musk's leadership and behavior. Public statements and behavior on social media have occasionally drawn negative attention to Tesla, impacting its public image and investor confidence. Well, okay, let's be clear. Elon is a controversial figure. He is an outspoken figure on X and in other contexts. He's not afraid to say what he thinks. He does get negative attention for it. He was getting negative attention before he bought X. Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, AOC were bashing him for more than a year before. Joe Biden was bashing Elon or ignoring Elon and saying that Mary had an EV summit at the White House and didn't invite Tesla. All this political stuff against Elon was happening before. And none of these people who were saying, oh, Elon's doing bad things, were criticizing Biden, were criticizing Elizabeth Warren, were criticizing Bernie Sanders. Look, if you support the commies, then you're not going to be happy when a capitalist speaks up about capitalism. But if you're a shareholder, you probably want capitalism because socialism is not good for shareholders. Communism is not good for shareholders. Software liability, software's fine. That's nonsense. We already covered that one. Check. Recalls and safety issues. Tesla has had several recalls. These are over-the-air updates. There was a recall on the Cybertruck gas accelerator pedal. 4,000 vehicles out of a company that makes 2 million vehicles a year. Really? That's what you got? I think you'd have to have 20,000 vehicles to be 1%. It's like way less than 1% of the vehicles Tesla's going to deliver this year. And then people freaked out about they had to put a rivet on a pedal. High insurance costs, check. We cover that. Product delays. I think it's typical for, first of all, lots of companies have, companies that they demo at auto shows and then they never make the vehicles. Tesla does a promo, announces a vehicle. It's it might be late, but it happens. I'd much prefer that. Thank you, Mark Potocnik. Yeah, please follow me on X, aka Twitter. WR4NYGov. Tom Zhu may be going to China because that's where the action is. A new model, FSD, and Cybercab compete head to head. Yeah, I think in particular, a really good explanation of Tom Zhu going to China is Tesla's starting to work on FSD in China. And you want your best guy in China to supervise the development of FSD in China. Because there's a lot of stuff there. There's issues about data and how the Chinese government wants data handled. There's getting it done right. You don't want to have bad incidents happen and get bad press in China because that'll happen. You're going to get, competitors and others are going to put people up to trash your company. What are my thoughts on having some kind of program on Tesla car owning education materials somehow, somewhere? Don't you think people are not at ease with changes? I don't know. Honestly, like I have a friend bought a model. A couple of friends bought Model Ys, and I spent 30 minutes with them and showed them how to use their car. I don't know that there's an easy way to do that. I think Tesla has some videos up on YouTube and on X and wherever. Here's how you use your car. There's an owner's manual. Generally speaking, people get in the car and they figure it out. Correct. Tesla does not do concept cars. How many FSD drivers? Because we saw that there's that picture from the biography of Franz von Holzhausen, the car designer, with like a 2-seat car, and people think that's the Cybercab. Tesla never showed. That's a concept car. They never showed it. They have concept cars. They have ideas. They have designs, but they don't show them to the public unless they think they're going to make them. IRRI says, I hoped for Fisker, but in my heart I knew Fisker would get snipped. Fisker never had a chance. Can you steel man the case for advertising? Oh, that's a brutal question. Okay, so there's people who are advocating that Tesla should advertise. Now, I would say having Kim Kardashian post pictures of herself with her Cybertruck for free on Instagram and get 1 million likes and probably 2 million likes by the time it's done, it's probably more effective than paying millions of dollars for a Super Bowl ad. I think there's an argument that you could, and I think Tesla tried to do this. Let's figure out how to advertise effectively, right? And so they tried the internet. Maybe keyword search can be a very effective way to do ads. And I think they hired a team, and the team didn't deliver results. So could you find a way to deliver results? Would they be meaningful? I haven't seen it yet. And then the case is, if you did X, Y, and Z, you would generate this much revenue. And then the question is, can you generate 5x the revenue of your costs? Because if you're only generating, because if your margins are 20% and you generate double the revenue that you cost to do the ads, you lost money. I think that's something people don't get. Tom Zhu has nothing to do with FSD. How do you know? Tom Zhu is a very capable guy. Every car that they make in China has the FSD hardware in it. It may very well be that he's going to be involved in managing the rollout of FSD in China. Very competent guy, very capable. Don't assume he's limited to managing production. I'm not saying that he's an AI engineer in there, designing the training compute and inference stuff. I'm saying that he's probably the guy to go talk to leaders in China and say, hey, here's how we want to roll this out. Let's see how we can make this work. You need consensus in a country like China to get things going. Warren is going to deduct his travel living expenses as a business expense. It works for a former president. I certainly do deduct some of my expenses. I actually use one credit card for things I think are business expenses and one card that I use for personal expenses. And when I pay cash, I don't get receipts and I don't track the cash. So for example, I use the transit system here in Bangkok, and the BTS system doesn't take credit cards, and I pay cash, and that's the one I use the most, and I don't deduct that. The MRT lets you use credit cards, so when I use the MRT, I use my credit card. It's just more convenient. And we're talking about small numbers, by the way. This is small numbers. Tesla owners and fans will advertise 100, and I tell my accountant what I spend on housing, in America and in Thailand, and I'll let my accountant figure it out. But I'm, going to places and making videos about, the Teslas I see there, or might be doing by the way, I mentioned this previously, working on a new channel called Bikini Nomad. I won't be wearing a bikini in the videos, but my girlfriend might occasionally wear a bikini in the videos, and we may be traveling around Southeast Asia and then beyond and making videos about nomad life. The videos will be about nomad life, not about bikinis. But there may be an occasional bikini in the videos. I think Tom Zhu knows how to send emails and use his phone to work with the FSD team. Exactly. Tesla owners and fans will advertise 100x better than any paid advertiser. I think, that you've got so many celebrities posting pictures of themselves with Cybertruck. Justin Bieber, Kim Kardashian, Katy Perry. I mean, they're getting good branding. I think the Steelman case, the case on Steelmanning the case for advertising, the argument that people make is, well, Tesla should do an educational advertising campaign. And a really simple question I have for people who say that, okay, I could buy the argument that if Tesla could do an effective educational ad campaign, that might have positive impact. Okay, so what do they have to educate people? Give me an example of an educational advertising campaign from some other company in the past that was effective about a complicated product that needed a lot of explanation. I haven't heard that yet. I've heard got milk. It's not a complicated product. Okay. So uh, we'll see. Have I considered visiting the Philippines? The beaches there are beautiful. We are roughly, no plans yet, but we are talking about doing a trip to Davao, Cebu, and Boracay. Boracay is the one that's noted for being most beautiful beaches. So that will probably be sometime in the next 6 to 8 months. I've got a list of, I want to go to Japan. I want to take my girlfriend to Japan. I want to take my girlfriend to the Philippines. We're going to go all over Thailand. Got a bunch of places we're going to go. IRRI, if you drive Tesla, Tesla, Tesla on the roads, 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 you love it, love it, love it. I am told, told, told. Tesla makes life safer. I love it. That's not bad. No, I'm working on a commercial. I'll tell you about the ad. I've got a friend I'm working with. He does these videos. His name's Frank. What's up, Frank's on X. And the video is a guy pulls into a supercharger and he says, open butthole. And you hear a girl giggling. And he gets out of the car, he plugs the car in, and he gets back in the car and he hears more giggling. And she says, are you going to come back here? And you see him go on the screen and change the charging from 80% to 100%. And you can see that the time it's going to take expands from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. And he climbs in the back of the seat and you hear more giggling from the girl. And the screen goes dark, and on the text it says, Tesla's charge really fast, but if you want some more time, you can get more time. What is a Kardashian? So we'll see. We'll see. I think Frank's going to make that video for me, and we'll post it. I'm going to pay the expenses. He's volunteering his time, but I'll pay for the actress or whatever costs he has. How does it feel having a girlfriend after years of toiling away in the States? It was definitely a slog trying to find a girlfriend in the United States, and I tried really hard. Dating apps were absolute hell. I flew to New York City for a first and then second date with a woman who's, I think, honestly a great woman, just wasn't a fit. She dumped me, but the connection wasn't there. I can accept it. Great woman. A doctor. Every Jewish mother wants her son to marry a doctor. No. I dated a woman briefly on a road trip. I met a woman and I tried to make that happen. Didn't happen. I flew out to California. I tried. I really tried. And I'm not what they're looking for. So Japan was better. And I think I didn't do what I needed to do correctly to try to make Japan work. I think I skipped some steps and that was a mistake. And now that I came to Thailand, it was like in America, like, one match a week or one match a month on a dating app. In Thailand, it was like 20 matches an hour. I might be joking, but I don't think I am. Yeah, I did a lot of line dancing. Line dancing was fun. The problem with the line dancing was that half the girls were 20 and heavily tattooed, and half the women were single moms in their 40s and heavily tattooed. I'm not too into tattoos, and they're just, I just didn't. And then there were plenty of married women there too. I just didn't see. I had fun dancing. I made friends. It was a great time, but I didn't even get close to a date with anybody from there. I don't think. I had a match with a woman. I'm sorry, I'm going to be brutal. She was a 4 at best. She was young. She was potentially, I had met her like previously at an event. Not an event. She was a friend of a friend. And I met her previously. We'd had a little bit of conversation, like as a group. And I saw her on Hinge, and I'm like, all right, I know her. Why not try? We matched. I think I swiped left the first time. That's all right. We'll give it a try. We matched, and we were supposed to meet at a sushi restaurant, and it's a 40-minute drive for me to the sushi restaurant, and I messaged her 3.5 hours earlier. Are we still on? She didn't reply, and I'm like, all right, well, this isn't a good sign. But 20 minutes before I get to the restaurant, I get a message, hey, I can't make it, blah, blah, blah. And all right. I never tried again with her. Canceled my cable this week. No cable, no landline, no car, no smoking, drinking, no restaurants, living life. Yeah, and by the way, cost of living in Southeast Asia, cost of nomad life in Asia generally is less than the cost of living in Florida. Will I bring my Optimus line dancing? Well, I don't see a lot of line dancing here in Thailand. If I have an Optimus while I'm in the US, like, is that carry-on? Is an Optimus carry-on or is an Optimus like checked baggage? How do you work? Do you have to buy it a seat? How does that work? Indo line dancing, Thai line dancing. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of dancing here. It's too hot. It's hot here. I think today's relatively cool actually because it's raining. It's been raining, but no polka dancers. All right. So I think I've been going for, was this 45 minutes or not? I think I've been going for about 45 minutes. Thoughts on bidirectional charging? I don't think bidirectional charging is a big deal, but I believe that Cybertruck has it and all future Teslas will have some form of bidirectional charging. I just don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I think people think it's a cool feature and then no one uses it. So will you be able to power your, electric grill and your camping trip with it? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think you're going to charge the house with it. Then how often are you going to use that feature? So I think the cost of incorporating something that's going to be rarely used in the car doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, so I want to thank everybody for watching. I got that out of my system. Yeah, there will be a drive over garage charger pad. That was in the Investor Day slide deck or one of the earnings calls. That's coming. I don't think Tesla production is constrained. Tesla demand is demand constrained right now. I mean, Cybertruck is ramping, Model 3 is ramping, so there's just the ramping constraint on Model 3 and that. And then there have been some constraints with like parts and supply chain disruptions, but that's it. So, all right. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Please please follow me on X, WR4NYGov, and please subscribe on that platform. Become a YouTube channel member here. Become a Patreon supporter. Become a Daily Live supporter. Check out the t-shirts at elonbits.com. I don't even know if this t-shirt's still on there. Have I decided I'm moving to Thailand? Thailand's my base of operations for my nomad life, but I still live in Florida. Thanks everybody so much. Goodbye.